Hi, everyone. It's great to have you here. I'm Teresa Youngkin, and I'm deeply committed to bridging the gap between healthcare and technology. I want to make it accessible and impactful for everyone. So you're going to find me here helping healthcare leaders stay ahead of the curve when it comes to new technologies. And as an informaticist, what I do is to bridge the technology and the business operations together, make it understandable and trying to create some common understanding and common ground. So whether you're struggling with the data initiatives or new IT that's out there, new technologies, just trying to make good informed decisions, because there are constant changes in the market, as we know. I am here to help you, and I got you covered. Welcome to my fall series where I cover my most frequently asked questions in AI. This week's question is what in the world's happening right now in AI? So let me switch over to my slides real quick and we will get started. So, what's happening is the last 2 weeks, we've seen an increase of activity in the AI world, and you may start to hear new terms like swarming, GPT assistance, and copy shield. There's a lot to talk about, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Last week, October the 30th, we saw some really big announcements that came out. I'm going to cover my top 7. The first one here is the executive order on AI that came out of the White House. So President Biden issued this executive order and it established new standards for AI safety and security. There were 8 guiding principles that were discussed in the order, and we're going to cover them right now. So we've got safety and security. AI must be safe and secure. There's got to be a commitment to labeling content, where provenance is. What are the provenance mechanisms to identify AI generated content? So that just means when you say provenance, it means where it originated from. They talked about innovation, competition, and collaboration as well. The administration supports competitive marketplaces. They want to foster innovation and provide opportunities for small businesses and entrepreneurs. They also want to make sure that we are doing things ethically. So whenever something augments the human work, that we want to make sure that it's not going to diminish quality of life for people, but it will improve the quality of life. Next, equity and civil rights must not be used to deepen discrimination or bias. I talk about that all the time. Consumer interests, we want to make sure that we're protecting consumers and that we're enhancing the quality availability of goods and services. Privacy and civil liberties. Now, as AI advances, it's crucial that we protect people's privacy and their civil liberties. Federal uses of AI, we got to make sure that the federal workforce is trained to understand the benefits and the risks, because that's very important. And then lastly, global leadership. We always want to be the leader in developing responsible AI. And we want to make sure that it's deployed in a way that is engaging with our international allies. We want to make sure that we're partnering to develop common frameworks, because we are no longer just one country by one country. We are, as Thomas Friedman says, a flat world right now. So we want to make sure that we are managing the risks around AI and promoting safety and security principles worldwide. All right. More really cool news as we're going to move from the federal out into the consumer space. Apple unveiled its M series of chips. So the M3, M3 Pro, M3 Max, and these are right now the most advanced chips for personal computers. They're the industry's first 3 nanometer chips for a personal computer. They debuted a next generation GPU architecture, and it delivers dramatic performance improvements. It's got a faster CPU, it's got neural engines and support for more unified memory, meaning switching between applications is going to be better, faster, quicker. Next thing I want to talk about too is, as we think about privacy, we're probably going to want to think about, like, how are we going to protect our privacy online? And Brave is one of those browsers that does do that. So they're going to be developing a privacy focused chatbot called Leo. Look for that. Brave is a browser just like Google, just like Firefox, just like Mozilla. Like, it's just another browser, but it is focused primarily on privacy. I talked about this last fall when I was talking about Web3 and maintain your privacy online, which is ever so important. Next, AI and social media. So these are some leaked screens that came out of Instagram. It looks like they are going to be introducing some sort of a customizable friend. I'm not really sure what this is going to look like when it comes to the use of Instagram. We've heard nothing really out of Instagram. They provided no comment on this. Next is Google. Google came out swinging. last week. So they had two really big announcements. If you've ever used Bard or used the Bard chatbot, if you can remember, you would like type in your question and you'd have to wait for it and it would bring back this huge block of text. That would be your answer. They've incorporated real time responses. So that means that it kind of has that typewriter type. So you can like watch it as it goes along so that you can see it's answering in real time. The second big thing is that they funded the AI startup Anthropic, and Anthropic is what is the under Claude 2. So they're making big strides in the market too. So this brings, right? We've got Google in the market, we've got Microsoft with the OpenAI announcement yesterday, and we're going to get to that, believe me. So, but interesting stuff. Like the competition is starting to get fierce out there. So I'm excited about that because what happens with competition? Prices come down and accessibility opens up for us. Next one. Was very interesting, and we should be really paying attention to this lawsuit. So it's really that first copyright infringement lawsuit around the generation of AI and using artists' work to create other works. So you know what? It was not a slam dunk for AI by any means. U.S. district court, it ruled in favor of Stability AI, Midjourney, and Deviant Art and lawsuit. What happened is the judge said, I'm not ruling on this claim, but you can refile another claim. So this is going to come back up again. It's really important when it comes to content generation and when it comes to an artist's owning their own work. Not sure how I feel about that either, because it's really it's the hard work of somebody who has thought through these, right? It's their creativity, and I don't know how we really are going to be able to patent or to keep IP in if you're going to be sharing it in this AI world. Speaking of Midjourney, they introduced a style tuner. So this is really cool. So those artists that are using Midjourney, now you can start creating AI and you can like define your own style. And then with this new style tuner, anything that you create, you can define that this is your style. Again, it goes back to that copyright infringement law. Not really sure how this is all going to work out, and it's very complicated, but it's interesting. This whole market is just like spinning and just racing forward. Next, have you guys heard the new Beatles song, Now and Then? I have to say, I almost cried because it was so cool. Um, the song was finished with the help of AI to include John Lennon. So it was a song that they started and it never got finished. It was their last recording of the Beatles, and they used AI to help them complete it with John Lennon across in the whole song. So that's amazing. I just thought of so many other uses that you could use for that. But very, very interesting. There is a link in the slide deck if you want to go listen to the song. It's pretty cool. All right. Lastly, of last week, like I said, there was a lot going on last week. This Canadian study came out that said that they could detect changes in your voice, and that could signal when you have type 2 diabetes. So the study found that you had changes in your pitch and your voice strength when you have type 2 diabetes. Again, not really sure how I feel about that, but it is a great example of what AI can do for healthcare. I want to get your creative juices flowing because this is really a market and a time where innovation is ripe and it's rampant, and I want you to participate in it. All right. Now we are going to move on because no sooner than coming back from that whirlwind week last week and a great weekend for most, the OpenAI Developers Conference happened, and we went from like 0 to 1,000 in no time. And I have to tell you that my head is still spinning. This is why you can't get on to ChatGPT today, why there are crashes and it's a little funky. It's because of this developers conference. People are out there just using. Now, the highlights that I took away from this keynote are from November of 2022, last year, to November 6th, that was Monday, 2 days ago, of 2023, they have grown from launch from 2 million developers to over 92% of Fortune 500s are building on their platform, and they have over 100 million weekly active users. That's insane. Now, remember that this was a developers conference. So right now, many of these great updates, they're going to be based on the APIs in OpenAPI, and GPT-4 Turbo right now is being released to developers. So I bring this to you because, again, you may have logged into ChatGPT and you're going to see that a lot of this is going to get rolled out into the application itself. And you may see some changes, and that's what these changes are. So just an FYI, as the word spreads, like today, you're probably going to see some outages this week, and it's not just ChatGPT; it's anything that you may use that's powered by AI. Maybe a little bit buggy, a little bit choppy. And all I have to say to that is, welcome to innovation and the bleeding edge. All right. This was the first one, context length. So we went from being able to use somewhere between 4 and 8,000 token. I should say, sorry, between 8 and 32,000 tokens with ChatGPT 4 at the higher end with 32,000 tokens. It increased to 128,000 tokens. That means when you see a 4 times increase in the number of tokens that's used, it went up to 128,000 tokens of context. That means that's approximately 96,000 words that you can use in prompt and response. That's huge if you've ever been curtailed by what you can get. You're going to have more control, more people can enter the market now, because if you look on the left side of this slide, you're going to see that this is JSON written. It's just an easier way. It takes us beyond bits and bytes. So the JSON on the left is showing you that this is Tom Cruise on the right. That's what the code looks like. Now, GPT-4 Turbo, not ChatGPT, but GPT-4 Turbo is better at function calling. And again, we no longer have to be software engineers, and we don't need to be able to code in bits and bytes, because we can use JSON, which is a lot user friendly for us to be able to program in. Um, the other thing, I'll go right back here. Sorry. The other thing along with this is that the knowledge base was updated to April of 2023. So now you're going to be able to put your own information into these models, as well as just using the prompts that are there. They brought in new modalities. So they brought in images as input. We've got text to speech, and now we will also have the release of Whisper 3, which means that we're going to have more, you're going to have that voice to text, which is incredible. Our rate limits have increased, and I think that this is really game changing for some of us. That means that more requests can be processed per session, and that means that you can have faster processing and longer memory. Now, the pricing for GPT-4 Turbo is now 3 times cheaper than when it was. Input prompt tokens are 2 times less. And then for output completion tokens, they've also come down. So it is right now about 1 cent for those input tokens and about 3 cents for output completion tokens. That's a lot less. Like I said, that's about 3 times cheaper than it was. Copyright Shield. This is very cool. I don't know if everybody knows, but at the time when you used ChatGPT, and when you were a developer in before now, if somebody used your application, they could come back to you directly, and OpenAI and had no legal responsibility to you whatsoever. That was in the terms and conditions. They just announced Copyright Shield, and that means that you can now get protection with OpenAI around any sort of copyright issues. And that is huge for end user developers. We're no longer just taking all the risk on ourselves. Microsoft and AI, they are working together. GitHub Copilot, now that's AI enabled coding, they're going to make that available in their enterprise editions. Now, they're really committed to working together to provide the best systems and computer resources for training and for inference. So, those are some ways up there on the screen that you can read about that. It will increase access for all AI builders. There was a game changing launch of GPTs. Now, this is going to allow anyone to build a customized version of ChatGPT for virtually anything. If you haven't gotten to the upgrade of ChatGPT 4, and you have to have the paid version if you want to see this, right up here, I'm going to show you. Right here, under ChatGPT, your new left window is going to look a little bit different. You're going to see Explore up here, and when you see Explore, what you're going to see on the left-hand side, when you click on those 4 dots, it's going to bring open a window called My GPTs. My GPTs at the very top is where you can create your own. Those are not live just as of yet. There's going to be a marketplace for these GPTs. Think about what you can do with these new GPTs. You can add your own information, your proprietary information into these prompts and into these LLM models together to create new products. It is a game changer for a lot of organizations and for a lot of industry. You're going to have to be making a lot of decisions about what you want to bring into your organization, what you don't want to bring into your organization, what you're going to allow, what you're going to develop on. The cost of it now has changed. Now you can give your CFO a better estimate of what it's going to cost to operate these GPTs within your own organization. It's been like drinking from a fire hose for us that are here and working in this industry, that's for definite sure. My biggest lessons learned that I probably want to convey to everybody is that this technology, it's here to stay. How are you going to account for changes in the market when it comes to those strategies, right? This is new territory. We've gone from 5-year strategic plans now down to 3-year strategic plans. Is it going to get smaller than that? Maybe so. And you need to be prepared for that. I said it again, I said it again, it's here to stay. AI is here to stay. Those that are going to survive are going to be the ones who lift their heads up to learn, to understand its implications, and that are flexible enough to pivot when and where it's needed in their industry, in their organizations, and in their markets. And lastly, all I can say is to equip your team with the knowledge that they need. Dive into the series. I did 12 weeks over the summer. You can just scroll back through my posts and listen to them. And if you're interested in having some sort of educational workshop for your team, I have workshops and educational sessions. So please make sure to reach out to me, and you can DM me here on LinkedIn, or you can schedule a time on my calendar link that's in my profile, and we can sit down, we can talk about what this looks like, because it really is a lot going on. I know that I bring you guys bleeding edge, but when you hear about it and just thinking about it in the context of what's here now, and just looking at how AI has just accelerated over the past year, it's incredible. So I will see you guys here again next week, where I'm going to continue to answer more frequently asked questions that I've been getting. I will also take a deeper dive into some of this new functionality, because in all truthfulness, I want to play with some of it first before I come to you and talk to you about it. As I always say, I walk my talk. So reach out. Have a great one. We'll see you here again next week. Bye.